What's going on, everyone? A lot of questions center around Kyrie Irving. What is going to happen? Are the Lakers going to be able to trade for Kyrie Irving since they are the only destination that is willing to trade for Kyrie Irving and reports state Kyrie wants to go to LA? Is Brooklyn going to keep Kyrie Irving and try to ride it out for a season? What is going to be the ultimate outcome? Now, Kevin Durant is supposed to be meeting with Joe Tsai and the Brooklyn Nets to sit down and try to come to some resolution, some conclusion. The Nets hope that Kevin Durant will rescind his trade request, but all reports show otherwise. All reports state that he still wants to be traded. And then the big question is, what do they do with Kyrie Irving? Now, if for whatever reason Kevin Durant says, okay, I'll ride it out for a year, what happens with Kyrie? Does Kyrie stay? Does he get traded? Because they know ultimately they're going to have to trade Kevin Durant, or do they try to keep Kyrie and hope that maybe KD will stay if they start to win and Kyrie changes? All of it is a possibility. I think it comes down to, what does Kevin Durant say? And I'm sure at some point the point of discussion will be, what do you want us to do with Kyrie Irving? Do you want us to keep him? Do you want us to trade him? How do you feel about Kyrie on this team? So we should get a lot of clarity within the next few days, whether it be tomorrow or this weekend. But by Monday, I assume we will get some more insight. The reports will come out for what the conversation between Joe Tsai and Kevin Durant were, likely what's going to happen with Kyrie Irving. And I do imagine if Kevin Durant says he still wants to be traded, I could imagine these trades happen very quickly. But there are some new reports and information in regards to Kyrie and as far as updates go, which I want to share with you all and then, of course, have our discussion. So first off, a source close to Kyrie Irving said this week that the 7-time All-Star is in a good place with the Nets and comfortable entering the 2022-2023 season via Ian Begley. Now, he is a New York Knicks insider, obviously, as you see, SNY. It's a New York-based company, so they're, of course, going to have some favoritism towards Kyrie Irving. And I want to show this, which, again, conflicting reports. Lakers are still Kyrie's top option. All indications are that the Lakers are Irving's top destination if he leaves the Brooklyn Nets. Now, this is from The Athletic, a more neutral site. There's no biased any way. Not saying that the report from the New York side isn't true, but we've seen a lot of the reports from New York side all say Kyrie is staying. But whenever you hear all the neutral sites or anything else, like, the big medias, they all indicate that the Lakers are still in play for Kyrie Irving. And it does make sense. If the Lakers at any point thought that they couldn't get Kyrie Irving, they would start looking and maybe pulling off a trade elsewhere. So far, we haven't seen anything in that regard. There haven't been any reports from the Brooklyn Nets saying, like, hey, we're keeping Kyrie, because they're still trying to figure out what's going to happen with Kevin Durant. But we constantly get these conflicting reports, and it becomes hard to know what is real, what is not. That's why I give you guys a little bit of everything, because who knows? None of us know. We're all playing a guessing game. But ultimately, we're going to find out relatively soon. Kevin Durant is going to be the first domino to fall, and then based on how that goes, Kyrie is likely gone. If at any point they feel like they're going to have to trade KD, I think that they trade Kyrie, because they're not going to want that headache. If Kevin Durant says, hey, I'll ride it out for this year, I want you to keep Kyrie, and then Kyrie's going to do whatever he's going to do, and I want you to trade me, then that could be a case, and then maybe Kyrie does stay, and they do ride it out for a year. Problem is, if the Nets keep Kyrie, they can't replace him, right? Because right now, if they trade Kyrie, at least they'll get something back. They'll get some assets back. Maybe they can kind of work out a 3-team deal with the Lakers, maybe with the Pacers and get back a Miles Turner, something like that. But if they ride it for a year, Kyrie leaves, that's it. You have no salary cap. You have no nothing to replace him. So you're essentially literally losing Kyrie Irving for nothing. It's not even like in some cases where, the star player just leaves and at least the team has salary. No, in this case, you literally have nothing. No salary, no players, no assets, no nothing. It's just a really bad spot for Brooklyn to be in. But if Kevin Durant does say, I want to ride it out for a year, then I think they keep Kyrie. Now, if, Kevin Durant kind of leaves the door open, then I think they trade Kyrie. That's ultimately how this is going to find out. I really think, based on what the reports are from Kevin Durant's conversation with Joe Tsai, we're going to get a lot of information. We're going to get a lot of insight. But because of the New York report and something that happened on the Brooklyn Nets Instagram. Many people are using that and pointing to that saying Kyrie is staying in Brooklyn. And what I mean is Kyrie had an event that the Brooklyn Nets showed on their story. They came out and they, promoted it on their story on Instagram. And people are saying, based on the New York report, based on Kyrie being, put out there, this is your confirmation that he stays with the Nets. Now, could it be? Of course, it's a very real possibility. Problem is, outside of this, we haven't gotten anything with Kyrie Irving. They've taken him off of all the promotions, all the media posters, everything. Like, he literally is on nothing. And they shared a event that, yes, Kyrie Irving was hosting, but all of the Brooklyn Net teammates were there. It wasn't like they just made a post and shared just Kyrie Irving, right? Like, if they went and, say Kyrie did an event and it was in LA and the Brooklyn Nets decided to show the event and you saw, and it just had no connection to Brooklyn and the Nets team, then I would say, yeah, that's a really big concrete evidence. Like, yeah, that doesn't look good. But it's an event put on by Kyrie Irving, who currently is still a Brooklyn Net, but also beyond him still being a Brooklyn Net, the entire Brooklyn Nets team pretty much was at this event. And all of the images and stuff showed the teammates and the players and all of that stuff. It wasn't like they just showed a bunch of images of Kyrie Irving, but people are taking that and running away with it. Now, is that incorrect? No, I mean, who knows? Again, this is all a puzzle that needs to be solved. But I don't really think that this affects it either way. I don't think that this is an argument that, yes, he's staying in Brooklyn or that he's being traded to the Lakers. I just think that it was an event that was put on by a guy that's on the team currently, and the entire team was there. That's kind of how I look at it. I look at it as like they were just promoting their team and they were trying to show that chemistry and stuff like that. And look, they hang out together and this, that, and the other. We see all of the teams do it. I mean, there were more images of the players and gameplay and stuff like that. It wasn't like they had an interview with Kyrie. Again, we don't have anything concrete either way. And that's where this rift is the issue, right? We don't have anything showing Kyrie is staying in Brooklyn. We don't have anything showing that he's going to be traded to the Lakers. And I think that is something that needs to come out sooner or later. Also, one last little thing, because I had a lot of people reach out to me about this, where it says Kyrie, run it back. It's an image of Kyrie and KD. And a lot of people were saying, oh, look at this. But this is something completely different. The story, yes, I understand that. What this was on the tag post. This is an image that's going around because it says run it back with 2 chips and all of that. But this is from Kyrie Layup, which is a fan site for Kyrie Irving. And so this is nothing. This is just part of the Brooklyn Nets tag. This person posted this image, said run it back, and then they tagged Brooklyn Nets in it, and there's your tags. That's all this is. I just wanted to clarify this for people because a lot of people, like I said, were talking to me saying, well, did you see the image posted on the Brooklyn Nets IG? This was the image that they were talking about, and it's not. They didn't post that direct. They posted the story, but again, it was at an event with all of the Brooklyn Nets. It's just something to keep in mind. I'm not saying, again, it's proof either way, but it's not like they just showed Kyrie in a Brooklyn Nets jersey and was like, that's our guy, that's our point guard or something like that. Then I'd be like, yeah, okay, you got me. He's staying in Brooklyn, but we haven't seen anything along those lines. So I still believe that Kyrie is ultimately going to get traded to the Lakers. I mean, is it possible that he doesn't? Of course it does. And I get a lot of people that ask me because I'm so on Kyrie getting traded to the Lakers, so many people are like, what's going to happen if it doesn't? Nothing happens. I'm guessing just like anybody else. I'm just putting the information out there that is out there and then just giving my thoughts and opinions on it and giving my personal, take on what it is. That's why I always open it up to you, the viewer, because it's like, here's how I feel about it. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I don't know. I'm not friends with Kyrie. It's not like me and Kyrie are going for drinks this Saturday and I can sit down and ask him. I don't know him. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what conversations he's had. Nothing. I just look at all of the evidence and everything that's out there, and all of the neutral reports are that Kyrie is going to the Lakers, whether it's this year or he signs next year. Now, maybe we have to wait a year, okay. If we have to wait a year, we have to wait a year. I just think ultimately Kyrie Irving will be a Laker. If it's not this year, it's probably going to be next year. I just think that that's kind of the crash course that we're heading towards. And I just look at all of the neutral reports. They all say the same thing. I look at the Brooklyn Nets, who could easily put this to bed. Easily. Kyrie Irving's under contract for another year. He opted in. You know, all they have to say is we're not trading Kyrie with or without Kevin Durant. You know, or Kyrie comes out and just says, hey, I'm going to ride it out with Brooklyn for a year. None of that. Or we would have seen the Lakers make another trade, right? Because the Lakers really want to make a trade. And based on reports, the Indiana Pacers trade is on the table. They just have to give up 2 firsts. Like if the Lakers made that trade, maybe that means he's not coming. You know, unless it turns out to be a 3-team deal or something. But ultimately, like if the Lakers go and trade for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, and that's it, and that's the trade, and that's the end of the report, then okay, you're not getting Kyrie this year. It's not the end of the world. You got Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. But if that deal really is on the table, why would the Lakers not take it? Unless they know that Kyrie Irving is still an option. Now, does that mean that the Lakers ultimately get Kyrie? Who knows? But if the Lakers really thought they were out of the Kyrie Irving race, they would move on. They would do something else. Brooklyn could, like I said, could easily just put an end to this. Hey, guess what? We're not trading Kyrie. Hate to break it to you. Tough. Like, they could do that, and it's over. Conversation's done. But they're going to find out, what does Kevin Durant want? What is Kevin Durant going to do? Is he going to stay? Does he still want to leave? If he wants to leave, Kyrie, I think, is gone. Like, I never want to say 100% because you never know, but I'm like 99.9% that Kyrie gets traded if Kevin Durant doesn't rescind his trade request. And then if he does stay, does he really want Kyrie or not? Because there are reports that he does not want to run it back with Kyrie Irving. If that's true, which I don't think that's true, because I think if it was true, they would have already traded Kyrie, but who knows? I mean, Kevin Durant requested the trade after Kyrie opted in. So that's a pretty big sign and a pretty big red flag that could potentially be true. But I imagine the Brooklyn Nets are going to ask him, do you want Kyrie or do you not? I don't think Kevin Durant's going to want to be the bad guy. I don't think Kevin Durant's is the kind of guy that's going to be like, no, I don't want Kyrie, because he's not going to want to ruin the friendship. But I could see him kind of leaving the door open or giving that like hint, hint, wink, wink, so he could still tell Kyrie, like, I didn't tell them to trade you, you know, or something along those lines. I could see that being the case. And I think if Brooklyn, if they are done with the conversation with Kevin Durant and the door to trade Kyrie Irving is open at all, that they probably trade Kyrie Irving. I do, especially if Kevin Durant says he wants to be traded. If Kevin Durant still wants to be traded, then I do think he probably goes to Boston, because I think the Nets are going to say, hey, look, do you want to stay? No, I still want to be traded. Okay. The only place we could trade you is Boston. Are you okay with going to Boston? And if he says yes, I think he goes to Boston. That's ultimately how I feel about this. But again, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think Kyrie Irving, he goes to the Lakers? Do you think he stays with the Nets? Do you think the IG story is, concrete proof that he's staying in Brooklyn? Or do you think like how I think? Like, no, it was the entire Brooklyn Nets team was there. That's the best promotion you could ask for. Granted, you could make an argument, I guess, that if we're going to be fair, that Kyrie's hanging out with all the Brooklyn Nets or that they're going to support him, but still, it's not like he was like, there's not like a bunch of pictures of him taking pictures with everybody. And like, I don't know. It looked like a Brooklyn Nets promotion story, which is what they do and is the whole point of their social media. And Kyrie Irving is still on the Brooklyn Nets. So I don't know. I like I said, I don't think it makes an argument either way. I don't think it's proof that he's gone or that he's there. I guess you could make an argument that, okay, like, Brooklyn's at least finally showed Kyrie Irving's face on their social media. But again, there's no promotional posters. There's nothing. They basically erased Kyrie Irving from the organization, and they haven't brought it up. Maybe that changes. Who knows? But again, however you feel about it, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.